Hello and welcome back to Quinta, Fonte, Pipa. I'm Alex, this is my wife Sandra.
Hi.
And welcome back to another week's video. It's going to be a bit of a longer one than normal because it's going to take some time to show you what I want to show you. If I cut it down any more, then it's going to end up being, you won't quite understand where I am on the farm or anything else like that. During the video I will say things like yesterday, when I showed you yesterday. But what I mean by that is last week's video, because last week's video would have ended up being a huge video like this week's video if I put the footage you're about to see in last week's video. So if you hear me saying yesterday, then that's what I'm talking about. I'm referring to last week's video when I showed you some of the land I cleaned. Is this wasp
It's a bee, I think.
Is it a bee?
Yeah,
oh, well, if it's a bee, it's all right. And obviously in that video, Sandra and Molly were still in Portimão in the Algarve on their little holiday. I think we've got
no, it's a wasp.
It is a wasp.
No, he's back.
He's back again. Will you go? Yeah, the lives and tribulations of YouTubing, eh? So anyway, as I was saying before, Mr. Wasp interrupted us. My God! The girls are back from their holiday, so...
Oh, it's gonna be me.
I did a lot of cleaning on the land, which I'm about to show you, and I'm going to try and put sections of Google Map on there and show you roughly where I am walking around on the land, so it makes some sort of sense to you. If you see them come up on the screen, maybe you might want to hit pause so you can actually see where I'm trying to mark on the map for you a little easier. So, should we get on with this week's video then?
Yeah, let's see what Alex has been up to whilst I was sunning it on holiday.
Yes, lucky lady. So, here we go. So it's the next day, and after me taking you up to the top yesterday on the tractor to show you the very top piece of land that I'd cleaned, it got to the point in the day at 11 AM that I could no longer have my tractor out, so I had to leave. And on the way back I realised I'd only shown you about half of what I'd cleaned, so I'm going to quickly take you up to another piece of land on the bike right now, and I'll just quickly show you how much area I've managed to clean over there. I've just noticed on the IPMA website, and the IPMA website is the one that determines if you can have a bonfire and tells you the restrictions for travelling in the forests and for all other manner of things, whether I can use the machinery on the back of my tractor and things like that. Yesterday was prohibited, I think today is prohibited, and it looks like Tuesday, tomorrow morning, it's going to be alright for me to go and do a bit more work with the chain on the back of the tractor. So if that is the case, I should be going back and doing a little bit more clearing. I'm just going to show you now quickly on the website what I mean, and I'll flick through the different days and you can see the chart indicator changing from dangerous, no work, to dangerous but yes you can work. I also said I'm going to show you some of the farm on Google Maps. Now I hope I'm going to make a good job of this because I haven't started it yet, and I'm going to do a screen recording whilst I move the mouse around, and I hope it will give you guys some idea of what the farm is from above, so you get an overall view rather than seeing the weekly videos of just a little portion here and a portion there. And what I want to do is bring the goats in to our front garden here in front of the house, because we've kept them out of here for about 6-7 weeks now, letting this grass grow up, and as you can see it's got a healthy amount for them to eat in here. So hopefully later on, maybe tomorrow, I'll do it as they're out on their own in the land this morning, and they're getting to eat a lot of fresh grass. And whilst it's very good that the goats have got lots of fresh lush grass to eat, we've noticed 1 or 2 of them are getting a bit of diarrhea, which is from an over intake of extra lush grass, which can be okay, but it can also be a problem. It can cause bloat in them, which can kill a goat within a couple of hours. So we've got a fresh bowl of bicarbonate of soda in the barn with the goats, and you can see that they're all going and they're all eating it. Not a lot, they lick a little bit and they go off and they carry on eating, but it helps release the gas in their stomach because goats are unable to burp, and when they eat a lot of green grass it ferments in their stomach and swells up and it can kill them. That's called bloat. So we always at this time of the year have bicarbonate of soda out for the goats, and they can help themselves when they want it. Right, let's whip off on the bike. I'm probably going to whiz past the dam because I can't resist it. Every time it's on my path up to the top of the land, I've got to go and have a look at how beautiful the lake looks. I've cleaned all down here. See, there's piles of grass I've got to come and pick up. I've trimmed all down in the driveway here. After you. So we're right outside the front gate of the farm, and just to try and help give you another landmark for when I show you on the map, the water tank where I collected the trailer from yesterday is literally, it's just down there, about 20 meters away. So that's a water tank there. The Lister pump is just over there. The tank at the back of my house is in that direction, and obviously the house is right behind where you're looking from. So well, as you can see, it's a lovely day. Lakes. Oh, look at that. I wonder if you just caught that on camera. That fish jumping out. That was either a carp or a black bass, a largemouth bass. And I'd say it was probably a largemouth bass, the way that came out of the water. Just got himself some breakfast. I'll be out there fishing, except for it's closed season at the moment for the black bass. Right, again for some perspective, that is our large water tank, that is the roof of the goat house. That's where I keep my farm machinery for the tractor. This is the most dense part of the eucalyptus that we own, and again, because of the fire bans, I was hoping to have taken off this group here and all the ones at the front, but time has prevented me doing that. I'm just showing you here to give you some perspective of when I show you on the map. Now I'm doing this one-handed, which is not the easiest because I'm holding the camera in one hand, because if I clamp you to the bike, the image will shake so much you won't see it. That's where the truck was. And up there is the bottom of where I took you yesterday on the tractor and I cleaned. Then there's a dip, and then there's our other eucalyptus patch we've got, which is marked on my maps in Google Maps. Here I had a fence in here where I kept some pigs. And we've rolled everything up, so I need to come up here in the tractor because that fence is more than reusable. I'm going to leave the bike and I'm going to have to go on foot. This is an entrance ramp that was pretty clean before the fire. It was pretty much just like this, you know, grass, but it's got all the rock rows and the jesters grown back. You know, a little bunch of eucalyptus trees, 2 inches thick, sprouted from nowhere. There were no eucalyptus here. So after the fire, another one there. Some have sprouted there. There was never anything there. So The fire's a good thing in a way. Like I explained the other day, it's natural, but then it creates all this rubbish to grow up to protect the surface. And all these little sticks are what's left of the rock crows. And you can see I don't clean right down to the ground because of the rocks. And I'm hoping on a strimmer day, I mean look at all the dead trees. It's not nice to look at. Look at them all. They were big beautiful things too. When we get another break and I'm allowed to work before 11 AM, I shall come up here with a strimmer and do this. This is too steep and too rocky, making it too dangerous for me to come in here with my tractor. That is just too dangerous. So I have cleaned in here a little bit. So this was the fire track that was always clean. This is what we call matu, so it's easier for me to say matu. That's what it is. It's grouse bushes, it's rock rows, it's shrubland. That was all the way up to the eucalyptus there. Now where the lands dip down over there, up here is a hand cut water channel, and that takes all the storm water from all the other lands up there. When it rains, they all come down in a natural valley and they flush the water into this, which runs all the way around here, and believe it or not, it goes all the way down there to my stone cottage. It's actually quite awkward to walk on, and me being the fashion victim that I am, I've worn the best shoe wear. This is the track you saw me drive up the other week when I came out of the field. And from here it doesn't look like a lot, but what I've actually done, so I've come on this area. That's as far down on that bit there I want to go in my tractor. I think I can clean a little bit more there with the tractor, and then the last bit will be by hand. So if I strim this bank with a strimmer with a blade on it before 11 AM on the days that I'm allowed to do it, then I've got a big long gap now between the eucalyptus that we own and the intensity of the fire coming out of that and coming down here. Well, there's a burnt cork tree for you. They say they resist fires. Well, sadly these ones didn't make it. One, you've lost a tree, and two, I've lost the income from it, and that's a decent sized cork tree. Another cork tree, burnt cork, but at least it's alive. This one's partially alive, and the rest of them were a mixture of Holmes and cork oak. Right, so that's relatively flat there on the left. This is where you saw me driving up, and you saw me turn left, and I drove through a load of overgrown matu. And this is where I drove through the first time when I came to all the overgrown stuff. The thing with Portugal is this bit's alright to clean on the tractor, but then all of a sudden, it might not look a huge amount on camera, but that's when you're on the tractor, that's very steep. Oh, there's a partridge. We've got grouse, partridge, pheasants, rabbits, all sorts on the farm. It's brilliant. And speaking of birds, I'll have a look on my phone and see if it came out. There's two huge storks circling over the top of the farm the other day, so I hope they're going to start making a nest in this area. They're lovely birds to look at. That's where I went down the other day to clean, when I cleaned all along the bank over there. You can see there's a nice clean terrace down there, which is what I've cleaned. And this is a big area of land, this bit. I've cleaned all the way down there. And if we go around here, what you have to realise too is the ground is unstable, and that rock there, for example, if you don't notice it and it goes over your back tyre, and it can tilt your tractor one way or the other, and if you're already on a inclination, that can cause you to just tip over beyond the degrees and roll the tractor. So just in there is where you've just seen. I'll come down here and done another one. It might not look a lot, but that's extremely thick, 7 feet tall, and it's very fibrous, as you can see, even going through the chain. There's a perfect example. Look, that's why machines like mine, or anything with a metal blade, is banned during fire season. That, hit the top of that, all it needs is one spark into this, beautifully tinder dry. Look at that, that's bone dry. It's been on the ground 2 days, 3 days, and that would make a lovely fire. We'll wander down there in a second, but I want to show you more. I hope this isn't going to work out to be boring on camera, because it's difficult to move around on this land, and I would have done it the other way with the tractor, but I'm not allowed to. I might sound like a right mummy's boy going on about, oh, I'm not allowed to. The fines you will get for starting a fire, and just how it would make you, well, how I know how it would make me feel if I knew I started a fire that wiped out 75 hectares of land that belonged to other people, and especially burn my own and just destroy nature like that through being a selfish idiot. I don't think I'll be able to live with myself. Now, this gives a good perspective. It goes down here, then it goes up, and where I first showed you I'd cleaned goes down again, so it's hidden from view at the moment. But there's the house. You see I've cleaned down, gone round to the left down there. I just want to show you up here against the front of the eucalyptus. Again, we didn't have eucalyptus growing here. It's just all sprouted up. I've been chopping them down. That's a fresh one. Look at that, 3 years growth, that. The chain doesn't always get them on the first pass, because there was already a lot of other stuff covering over the top, so sometimes 2 passes and you take these trees out, but I can literally just drive straight over the top of them and it ends up like this. Not using the bucket, just driving forwards and the chain following behind and just obliterating everything. That water channel continues along here. It runs basically all the way in front of the eucalyptus area, and there were 1 or 2 like this which were very large. But these little things and these bushes here, they were never there before, these eucalyptus. So again, this is literally 1 or 2 passes I've done down here. I've gone all the way down there and I've driven all the way along the front. This, the bottom of the valley here, is our boundary. I've had a few passes through here, just because I know this land gets very steep, and a couple of different valleys, and I'm just trying to test. And then I get off the tractor and I go in and I walk. And again, more eucalyptus that was never ever there before. This little patch here. So they need to go, because they're bringing the, if we can keep it to here and keep 30 meters of this clean, I can actually drive up here if that's on fire and put little flames out that start creeping into the land before they get to the bigger stuff, because I'm not going to clean all of it this year, but it'll make a big difference. I'm trying to walk as fast as I can to keep all this interesting for you. There's another one I've cut in there. And I've cleaned through here, and then I've gone back up again to where we just looked down from the eucalyptus. I've come in here very gently. I've cut a strip there as a marker for myself because there's a big wall here, and this is the rest of that water gully, and that goes all the way down to the stone house. You might be able to just see behind the trees over there. So last thing you want to do driving through this lot is drive straight over the edge. That's something you wouldn't, as a tractor driver, wish on anybody, because it'd be about the last thing you ever do. So cleaning some of this can be pretty scary sometimes. It's worth getting off and walking it, which I often do. But I'm not quite sure, like the wall's just there and it's running at a funny angle. It's running away that way, the wall. So the edge of this wall here is actually there, up there. So you could look at it here and think, oh, I've got plenty of more meters to drive here. No, you haven't. There's another big old cork tree. She got very badly burnt, bless her, but then it's going to the net with all of this. Don't forget, I'm one guy, 32 acres, it's a lot to clean. But the fire really has made us a problem here. This was nowhere near as thick or as dense. I mean, look at it. It was nothing like this when we bought the farm. The fires created all this to grow. And these are, again, these are the burnt sticks. Oh, hard they are. Those stand up like that. Those stand up like that. My tractor goes over it because they're like steel. And it would have been this stuff, the rock rose, just like that. But when it's burnt, it makes the wood go like steel. And if I drive over that like now, it'll just snap out the way. Another boundary wall, and this not a boundary wall but a wall you will see on Google Maps in a moment. Stone cottage is just there. More stuff I've cleaned. I mean, you can see how tall it is. It's literally 7 feet tall. It's taller than me. There you go. That's how tall the stuff is. And each bit's not particularly thick, but when it's 9 inches away from a brother or sister, you can see how closely planted it is. Well, planted. You can see how closely spaced it all is. Another big one up there. More up here. See, I've come up both sides of that wall. We were stood just over there where I showed you the wall. I've gone right down there a little bit. And this is where it just starts to enter the farm. I should be able to clean a certain amount of this with the tractor. It's not too steep here. About there, then it does go down a little bit. So if I can clean a bit more of this, and I need to chop a hole through there, a fire break if you want to call it that, and clean this last patch out here, then that then means I've got a big area here. But if the fire does come from over there, I can drive down here in the tractor and I can put it out before it comes across. And then thankfully this is thinner and it's not so tall, so if it does make it across, it shouldn't be too intense when it gets to the farm. When we get the goats more sorted, we'll have more time to spend back on actually on the farm. another boundary marker. So clean through here, I've cleaned down the bottom there, I've cleaned a big swathe in there, then there's another one and another one, and I think you can just about see from here where I took you on the tractor, just up in there you can see some browner colour. That's where I've cleaned the land up there, and it goes right up to the top. Then there's a fire track runs all the way down the side of our farm. There's been a lot of cleaning. Right, I'm going to go and jump back on the bike. I'd love to have a day out just on my boat without even fishing, because we've only been out on it a couple of times, literally about 4 times I think we've been out on that boat. I really do need to spend a bit more time on this lake, but there's always something to do, which I don't mind, I enjoy it. Sorry it's just been me. The girls are obviously away on their holiday. They're having a good time. Molly saw an octopus being pulled out of the sea this morning by a shore fisherman down in Portugal. They've been out for a nice meal, and I think that they're having a good time. I really want to cut a bit more of that area out up there. I know it always seems that we're going on about fires, but when you own that much land and you've seen how overgrown some of it gets, you need to clean it. And at the rate that everything grows out here, that's every year. So I better get myself back to the farm, make myself some breakfast and start editing this week's video. Well, it's a nice sunny morning this morning, and finally the IPMA website says I can clean. So it's the morning after picking the girls up from the station last night at 20 to 10 at night. So Sandra's extremely exhausted. Molly stayed at her boyfriend's house last night in the village, and obviously I woke up a bit late this morning as well, having a chat with Sandra and watching some of the video footage they've taken. But as it's a morning I can get on and clean, I can't leave it. So after all the work I did putting the trailer on the other day, the trailer's now back off the tractor, which I don't like doing, because if you look at the trees you can see it's quite windy today, the trees blowing and everything. So if a fire was to start close by to this farm, it can travel at quite some speed. So that's why I don't actually like taking that off the back of the tractor, but needs must. So I've taken the tow hitch off. I'm going to go to the top of the farm. I'm going to stick the cutter on the back, which I'm not going to show you because you've already seen me do that, and I imagine that's quite boring watching people attach equipment to a tractor. I think you might have already seen in the video where I took you up on the bicycle and I showed you where I'd cleaned another piece of land that you didn't see last week. I'm going to go with the cutter and I'm going to chop the final little sections out that I require to try and have some fire gaps in between us and the other lands that are not ours or part of ours but overgrown, that I can't quite get to yet to clean properly. So it'll make a bit more sense when we get down there, and hopefully I can explain a little bit more and it makes some sense to you. That's the cutter back on the tractor. Last week I took you up in that part of our farm where I cleaned, but I've also cleaned through here. You might see a clean patch there, and we're going to drive off around this ramp here and I'm going to finish the cleaning I've done over there. Hopefully it'll make a little bit more sense to you when I start putting the map up on the screen, or I might have already done it already. I'm really not quite sure how I'm going to stick this video together at the moment, so some of it might sound a bit disjointed, but I'm hoping to have the map on the screen and show you as I'm showing you different parts of the farm. Right, I'm going to get the tractor fired up and drive off over there and start doing some cleaning. I'll probably stick you on a bit of a time lapse, so let's get on with it. As I've already done this part of the video before, but I did it by foot, so I'm not sure if I'm going to show you that bit of footage yet. I'm going to try and clean, not a lot more, but what I can do in a minute, or a minute and a couple of minutes on the tractor, could be an hour's work with the strimmer. So I'm going to try and just clean a little bit more of this out here. If I can't, I won't be able to go in there, that's too steep there, so there's no way I'm going to even attempt to try and go in there. I'll probably get to about here and clean a little section here. So this part on the left is what I'm going to clean in a minute. Well, one area that I want to clean this morning. I want to clean more right over there, which you haven't seen yet, and more down the bottom. And I want to clean more of this little triangle. I want to clean more of this triangle out here. Obviously I'm not going to be able to do this bit too well because it's too steep, but that's the fire track that came up in the other week's video. I came round here, and that's the clip you've just seen me driving through all the absolute rubbish that was here. Well, all of this stuff. And I think I'm going to try and attach you to that dead tree, because there's nowhere else for me to put a camera on. I'll have to use my hydraulic ladder. Right, let's see if I can walk up and attach you on there somehow. Right, well I'm up on the bucket. Well, that was the tree I attached you to. I've managed to clean all of this. I've cleaned a bit further into there, and I've managed to clean down those banks in a few areas. I've managed to clean a little bit more of what I thought I'd be able to clean. So, done a couple of strips down to here, but there's an edge where that stick is that drops straight down. So that is looking a lot better. Well, I'm in the truck now. I don't believe this. I think I might have just lost the gearbox on the tractor. You might have seen before I've got linkages underneath which I've adjusted, and I've got the gearbox working again. I've taken all of that off and I've physically put it in gear, still won't drive. I just don't believe the timing of it. So wish us luck. You're going to see me trying to pull it out in a minute, I hope. And I don't really want to call my Portuguese friend in the village with a 4x4. We'll have a go first. If it's too much, then we'll have to call him or another friend with a tractor, which is probably the better option.
Oh my God, we're going up here.
We've got no choice.
Jeez, okay.
I just hope all these sticks aren't going to hurt my tyres. Just hope it'll have enough traction to actually pull the tractor up this hill. I think I can get close enough. I've got enough straps. There's a bit of a wall here I don't want to go over. I had to move the fire extinguisher to get to all the linkages. That didn't work. We went to go and film it, but unfortunately the battery was flat on the GoPro, so we filmed a little bit from inside the cabin by running it from a USB lead, but the tractor's still where it is. It moved a little bit, but then the tyres on the truck here lost traction on the slope in the dust. So I got poor Sandra to sit on the tractor and I tried, and I was a bit harder with it. And I had big puffs of smoke coming out the engine because I've cooked the clutch a little bit on the truck, which I'm not happy about. There's a big puff of smoke came out the side of the gearbox. The clutch will be all right. I've just taken a bit of life off of the clutch. So I've just contacted a friend of mine who he's probably having his lunch in the next village along, a Portuguese friend, and he's going to come along later on with his 4x4 and try and get me out. I'm hoping with his 4x4 he'll have the traction to do it, but I'm not quite sure if the gearbox, if the gearbox has got a problem yet. I'm assuming it has from what I've done, but I don't know if it's still sort of got some of the gears engaged inside, and that's what's resisting it being pulled back. Although it's a heavy tractor and it is on a slope, you know, so I'm trying to pull it up a slope. Even though the tyres are good, they're truck tyres, you know, they're not meant for off-roading. And the poor old truck is only two front-wheel drive, you know, so even that's struggling. But it drove through all the land to get there all right. Let's just hope my mate can get me out in a little bit. The problem with the tractor being stuck there, that also means now that my fire trailer is out of service. So I can no longer tow the fire truck around, the fire trailer. So that's going to cause me a bit of a problem. Really not a good time to be having this problem. And I just hope that the problem is external to the gearbox and not in the gearbox, because if it is in the gearbox, that means you have to split a tractor in half. You literally cut the whole thing in half. Don't cut it in half, but you undo all the bolts and everything and separate it into the front goes to the left and the rear goes to the right, and then you can get into it, like when you replace the clutch on it. Not a nice job. Be all right on a garage floor with a concrete floor for a trolley jack and everything to move and slide around, but for me to do it on the driveway out here would be a real pain in the backside and really uncomfortable. So let's just hope when I get it back up to the house, if my friend can get it out, it's something I can fix and it's not too much of a problem. So fingers crossed, eh? Even his truck's struggling to pull the tractor. Awesome job, Marco. still struggling though. He's in 4x4 and he's slipping his wheels. Scherder, sí, scherder. Para. Well, Marco saved the day. We were right down there, and even he was struggling then. He was wheel spinning. He's going to leave me in the fire track.
I've just popped outside to see what Alex is up to.
It's just took me half an hour, if not a bit longer, to get the chair off, which you can see the state of the chair from the sun, because I need to get in here. And the reason why is because I've got to access all this lot which was below the chair, and I think the problem's actually in the gearbox here. I had a problem before with these gear linkages, and you can actually take this top section off and I could fix it, but the gearbox is a solid piece. Now I'm not sure until I take all this off what I'm even looking at yet, and I don't really know what I'm looking for. I'm not a tractor mechanic, I'm a mechanic, and once I open it up I'll understand some bits, but otherwise I should think if I send this off to a tractor shop in Castelo Branco, I reckon €3,000 to fix it, because they're going to have to separate the tractor into 3 sections to do what I need to do. But I haven't got €3,000 to spend doing it, so it's going to be left to Muggins here to fix it and hope that it's actually fixable, or the parts that I need inside are actually going to be affordable. And so we are now 110% without a tractor. Great timing, right in the middle of the fire season. Sorry it's always doom and gloom, but it's called life. Oh, I don't believe this. I was so close to finishing the fire breaks and everything, cutting through it all, and then... oh well, thank God for my friend coming and helping pull me out. So, thanks very much. Muito obrigado, Marco. Let's get on with it then. Right, you best leave me alone for a bit so I can make some rude noises, like swearing.
No, how's it going?
Hello. Well, it's going slowly. I've just taken all the wiring loom out of it, which goes snakes all through here, and it goes under the steps, and I'm now having to take out all the steps. I'll have to take all the wings off, which isn't a bad thing because this got ripped off and needs rebolting. In fact, that's still left over from the fire 3 years ago. So that all got ripped off when I got caught in the eucalyptus and nearly set light to the tractor because the fireman sent me in there.
Well, she looks cleaner.
Yeah, well, I've jet washed it. There's no way I'm going to do this job and have it all filthy, so I've got a pile of bits over there I'm slowly mounting up.
Oh, look at that. All bagged and labelled.
We managed to buy the correct New Holland manual from this online yesterday. It wasn't cheap, it was €50, which I didn't really want to spend, but I know roughly what's inside where and everything else, but I don't physically know how to take it apart. So it was nice to get that. It's shown me, and I'm hoping by looking at the diagrams of the gearbox, it's just a little roll pin. And if anybody else remembers from before, I've had to remove one of the gear sticks, like that one, which was here, to get a plastic cover off. We had a problem with this, wouldn't go in gear, but all I had to do was take this little plate off here and I could get in to where I need. But this is where the problem is, and as you can see, it's a sealed unit, so I have to separate the gearboxes here. So I've got to take all of that off the back of the tractor. So the rear wheels, the rear axles, all of this has got to be pulled away from here, because that is the lever that no longer works, and I'm manually turning it and it's not going into gear. And looking at the diagram, inside there is another lever that's attached to the end of the shaft on here with a roll pin, and I'm hoping, and I hope you're all hoping, that it's just a 30p roll pin that is broken, which is pretty much a really poor idea from New Holland, using a roll pin to take all the pressure, because that's what had broken on this gear lever when it was literally flopping around and I couldn't get any gears. Took it out and thankfully the roll pin had snapped. I pushed out the old broken roll pin, put in a new one, and it cured it. So I'm hoping that's what that's going to be. But the only difference is that was an hour's job. This is probably 3 days work now, and really heavy work, because I should think the back of this tractor's going to weigh, I don't know, way over half a ton I should think. And I've got nothing else better to do, have I? I wanted to water land, I wanted to plough a field, I wanted to carry on cleaning. Such is life. Right, well, I've got to carry on trying to take off the other side. I think I need some bigger sockets. This one. Is it the same this side? Yeah. Oh, oh, wonderful. Oh, great. All this black bar here we paid extra for, because the tractor didn't come with the bucket. So as I was just saying, all of this section and the bucket we paid for as an extra on the tractor. We had to wait longer for it all to be fitted. Where they've put this framework on the tractor, it's covered the edge of this nut, look. Look how close it is to the edge of that nut. That's going to be superb.
So have you got to take all of that off?
It looks like I might have to take most of that off, yeah.
Okay, on that note, I'll leave you to it, yeah?
How stupid is that? That's just stupid. Part for the course.
Yeah, I'll pop back and
pop back in a
update you
little
all
while.
later.
Well, I've had to take out these brackets here, which are holding the, you can see the mud guards moving. I've had to take out the manual throttle, I've had to take out the 3-point hitch linkage controller and all the cables that run through here. But I think I'm going to have to get a friend to come with a small digger. When I get this stripped right down, I'll get him over, we can strap this and we can pull it off. If I'm right and it's the roll pin that's in there, I reckon 20 minutes and I'll be done, and then it'll be put all this rubbish back on. So it'll be 2 days of dismantling, 20 minutes work, and then put it all back together again. But that's what it takes, that's what it takes, that's what it is, isn't it? So, hum-ha. Have I got this removed from there down the bottom? Yes, all the bolts are out along there. So maybe this wing will come off in a second. I don't know if you want to see that. It says in a second, now I can't. Oh, everything's in the way of each other. Look, you can't get tools in there now. That's when all these spanners come in handy, because they're ratchets, but they've also got very wobbly heads on them. Oh, for getting into awkward places like this. Alright, and the washer. There we go. Yeah, there we go. And light for them for the tractor. Shoot, it's gonna be light.
Do you want to lift?
No, don't know how to do it. You can't do it. there is. There's one more bolt under there. When I had the accident with the tractor in the forest during the fire, I got a big eucalyptus tree get jammed in here and it bent all the winging for me, pulled all this off, which just needs new bolt holes putting in it. But it's folded this over here. It's folded this over here, so I can't get a spanner on the head of the nut. So I might have to take all this section, this step out, which is serious steel, and take it all out in one hit, because I've got all the other nuts and bolts off, but I think it might make it actually very awkward to get it out between the tyre. It's hard to explain in a video, but oh, that really isn't good. Why? And I can't hit it because I can't get a hammer in there because of the tyre. I know what I'm happy to do it. I'm lucky I can do it. I can't get a socket, I can't hit it properly with a hammer. I've bent this edge back out so I can get more access and I still can't get to it. What a nightmare that is. And it's double plated of metal there, so it's twice as strong as normal. I can lever in against the tyre, but it's just not. Just can't get on it.
So to do what you have to do, will you only have to take one side off?
No, all of it.
Well, okay.
I've got to strip 70% of the tractor. I'm going to end up from there backwards building the tractor like they would have done in the factory. But other than the factory picking it up off a shelf, I've got to take it apart before I put it back together again. And on gravel at my age, my knees don't like this one bit. Oh, one bolt. Come on, it's all.
Okay, big guns are coming out now.
It's not a big gun, it's just it's an air hacksaw. Basically that is a hacksaw blade you would put in a normal hacksaw. Now what's good about this is I can put that between there and I can basically chop the bolt in half, the head will fall off, and then all I've got to do is get the thread out of there. So I think that's what we're going to do here, but it's going to be a noisy. That's how it works. There we go. Save the washer, and it's cut the shaft of the bolt off. Just draining the oil out from the hydraulic system in the tractor. And normally on a tractor the hydraulic oil is actually the gearbox oil. I'm a little bit worried that might be too much for that barrel. Getting a bit full, that'll do me. So I've cleaned that container, and I've got another container here ready to pour it into, and then hopefully I can re-drain the last into that, and I'll have two containers. But I'm just thinking where on earth I can stick it now. So with the price of this oils at the moment, well, everything in the world's gone up, I'm trying to save what I can, so fingers crossed I can hide that out of the way and it's not going to get contaminated. The oil's in that one now. I think it's almost finished draining, and then I've got to take that pipe off that runs all the way through here, around here, and it goes into the hydraulic filter. I've got to take it off there and then take that tube off, then I've got to take the other one off. I've disconnected all the brake linkages, I've cable tied the bits that go with it to it. If you watched our video a couple of weeks ago, you might have seen when I was driving up in the land me talking about the sticks in the ground and how they prevented me from cleaning and giving me punches. I hope you can see this. It's looking a bit dark on the camera, but there's a stick There's another one that's made a hole in the tyre. And up here you can see exactly what I was on about. That's the burnt end. It's still got charcoal coming off on it. Look at that. The end on that thing. That's where the wind has blown it and tapered it to a really sharp point. And that piece of wood is like steel. Well, there you go. It's actually a great hole through my tyre. There's plenty more on here. There's another one. So I would count myself lucky I haven't had more punctures. And I said I had 4 punctures on my front tyre, which I did have, and we fixed with these little rubber worms that you can push in the hole. There you go, there's one there. That's a new one because it's still in the 2 pieces. So there's one there, and there's another one in there. You can see where it's had stuff go in the tyres before, and there are some more on that poor old tyre. But at least I didn't get other punctures, and I reckon I'm about 40% of the way in so far. It's not been too bad. You just got to be methodical, take it easy, label everything so it goes back so you don't get a nightmare when you're putting it back together. I just hope what I said earlier, it's going to be that little item, but we won't say too much more about that, eh? We don't want the old jinx fairies getting to us, do we? But I've had to take all the rear arms off of it. Then I've got to take the lower arms off. Then I've got to take these lower arms off. Move the cutter, but I might have to wait till my friend turns up with his machine to help me lift it out of the way, because we'd struggle to manually pull that. You certainly won't lift it, but I'd best get on with it. Well, the girls have been busy since they've been back from holiday. I'm having to make them pay for that. Girls have spent the last couple of days up at where we used to keep the male goat, Jeff, and my sort of enormous great fencing that I made there with eucalyptus and whatnot that a lot of you might have seen in some of our other videos. Now we're going to move Jeff and we're going to refix his fencing whilst he's with the girls. I used some of these cancellas. I made these many years ago when we had sheep, and they're called cancellas in Portuguese, fence panels basically. What we've done is we brought 5 of them down here. At the moment we've been keeping our lower gates closed down there on the farm, but if we leave it open, at the moment the goats are in the back garden, they'll help themselves out of that field and they'll walk down the road, walk along, and if they find our front gates open, they come in and they come all over here. They're a nightmare. They walk on top of the walls and everything, so and Sandra's just told me she's going out shopping, so I'm going to have to open all this up again. But I'm going to put it up now. One, you'll see what it's like, and I'll know if it's actually going to work. So I need to sort of test run it anyway. Like I said, I welded these together. I made these because they were 55, 60 euros to buy them. I can weld, and I made these in an afternoon. Down on the bottom here, one of them has a hoop and one of them has the spike. The spike goes through that, and then at the top you put that over the top. Well, you should be able to, but I made the spikes a bit long on the bottom and we were bashing the tops with a sledgehammer years ago to get them on, so I might have to whack this one over with a hammer, but yeah, I'll need a hammer. Now it won't go over, has it? There we go. So now they're locked together. The other thing is when we made this, we made the spikes quite long to give them more support in the ground, but they're actually a bit too long. I need to halve them, because I reckon what we'll find is some of the young goats are going to want to come through here. But that's the idea there, that they can come up the gate and they can now go straight in there. That one didn't need the hammer treatment. Here we go. So as you can see, the grass, it's got a lot of good seed in it. A lot of flowers, a lot of clover. So, and because it's close to the house, I'd normally cut this really low, but we want to use the goats for that. It's pointless chopping down good food for them. You might see the tractor hasn't moved on a lot more. I touched it yesterday, the day before yesterday. The reason I haven't done any more work is I actually had a friend call me yesterday. Said, Alex, I've got a problem with my tractor, and guess what? His gearbox had packed up on him. So I went over, it's about a 50-minute drive. I went over to go and see him the other evening, and we got his gearbox fixed on his tractor. He's got an older Massey Ferguson, which is a lot simpler to take apart, and he'd already bought the parts he knew were broken. So we just fitted those and got him back running. Then we were told there might be rain, and by this wind and everything else and the cloud, I mean, it doesn't look like rain at the moment, but we could be getting some rain. And because the last thing I want to do is have this tractor open and get water inside it. You don't want to put water in a hydraulic system. So I'm going to hold off for the sake of a day, see if this rain comes. If it doesn't, well, it doesn't, does it? But if it does come and I've opened the tractor up, nah, I'm not really up for that. So I'm going to leave that. Hopefully my friend's going to come over. I'm not quite sure. I spoke to him the other day. They're going to bring their digger over, which I'd be very grateful for, and hopefully he can just park himself behind the tractor, lift it off, I can fix it and just push it back on again. So fingers crossed.
I'm just going to go and check how Alex is doing. We've got the lovely Ollie here today helping us, so fingers crossed this is going to work.
Yeah. My fry bars. Molly, can you grab a fry bar?
Large, medium?
Medium-ish, and the large.
And one more pry bar.
Thank you, sweetheart.
I'm making my boyfriend's birthday cake, hence the mess.
Yeah, there's movement there. See if you can pull it towards you a little bit, mate.
Yeah, okay, I'm just going to curl the back in then. Drive back a little bit,
I don't want to pull too hard in case there's something else holding it, but
yeah.
Well, hey, right.
You have a stop for an inspection?
I think it's going to come apart as it should do. It says so in the manual.
Oh, okay.
I was just thinking more about the trolley jack and the front end, but
Is the handbrake off?
there's no handbrake left connected to it. That's it, lower it a little bit maybe. And it's all going like that because I said it would. That is enough, Molly. Come and have a look, and I can see what looks like a Duff split pin.
Can I give this to you now then?
Hang on a second, darling. Please be that. Yes. Oh yes.
It's all right.
Camera. Oh yeah.
All that for that.
Right. Yeah. Separate all the tractor like that. I'm hoping you're going to be able to see this. That split pin there has snapped off that shaft and is what's stopping my gears going in. For a 30p roll pin. Great bit of engineering there, New Holland. Awesome job. So thanks to my mate who's brought his digger over. That has just made a good job of that. Right, let's get fixing.
It's Tuesday.
It's Tuesday. It's Tuesday. Right, well the girls have finally got back with the roll pins from Castelo Branco and a fresh tube of sealant for me. And I have my beautiful assistant who's there, who doesn't want to be put on camera. So, but we've got the gearbox hanging with the digger bucket. And you might have remembered a couple of weeks ago I said about the PTO shaft, that if you don't have your tool with a clutch on the back, that's the metal rod that runs all the way through into the engine, and if you break that, well then you've got to do pretty much what I've just had to do. But these are the roll pins I was talking about, and we've just put it back together. And that's the part we had to take out. The shaft it's attached to, we had to pull out the side of the gearbox here, all to replace 2 little roll pins in there, which is kind of crazy really. Separate a whole tractor like that just to replace a 30p piece of kit. We're about to close the tractor back up and it should all be good. This is a cake Molly has made for her boyfriend, as it's his birthday today. She's cut out all the letters . And it's a hamburger. Hello.
What are you doing?
I'm welding on a tool to his digger for him as sort of a thanks for helping me. Right, excuse me, I'm just going to put a tack weld on it.
Okay.
Tractor's done. Welding is, well, it's not back together, but the awkward part we needed doing was done. It's all sealed back up. Then when it's gone off, I'll go around and cut off the excess sealant.
Back in there?
Yeah. And then it grabs the logs in there. Don't put your arms in here, children. Right, do you want to weld her up? Well, no, I'll weld it up. But...
Do you want it in that position?
No, I want to lay it out. Well, that's all welded on the digger. It's been welded in 3 spots, double welded on the ends. And then welded all the way through there. I'll show you in a second when it's up the other way. So here it is all finished. It's been primered. And big welds up there. Reinforced on the ends. And the same this side. and it fits on there really well. I've got most of it back together. I've just had to put this wing on because this wing actually supports this step, and this step has got the gear lever attached to it, so I need this one to be fully fitted. But before I fit the other wheel arch and everything, I haven't started it yet, so I'm about to try. I'll just put the battery back on.
You don't have a seat, does that matter?
No, it's just, otherwise I've got to put so much, if there's a problem, I'm going to have to take it all off again. So,
okay. Everybody, keep your fingers crossed.
yeah. It feels alright, but feeling it and actually... Oh.
There it goes.
Right, here we go.
Is the bonnet okay on the tree?
Low range.
Woohoo!
High range. Turn it round now, I can, so I can work in the shade. I'm very happy.
Job's a good un.
Oh, that could have been a really nasty, painful problem to have got fixed. Awesome. Just like to say thanks to my mate for helping me with his digger. Appreciate it. Oh yes. Well, you can tell it's warm. Look, the dogs are hiding. And you can tell how warm it is because Eddie, have you been digging a nice cold hole? And you and Lucy are hiding in there. Stop digging the driveway up. Were you doing it as well, Smiler? Were you doing it as well? Were you? I don't believe it for a minute, Tilly. You're a good girl. Very, very, very happy. And the IPMA website has changed. So I've got 3 days that I can carry on cleaning all day long. So hopefully I'm going to get those bits I was worried about not being able to do when the tractor broke. I might be able to get those done now. I think I should have all this back together in, I don't know, a few more hours. But there's a few things I want to do to it. I want to service the front axle. It needs the fluids checking and everything else. I've got to put the 4x4 prop shaft back on, which runs from there on the gearbox to the rear of the tractor, which drives the front wheels. Everything's all done up nicely. Everything's all done up nicely under there, and there's no leaks, not a drip, not even any dampness. So that should all be good. So, as you've just seen, the tractor is all now back together. I'm glad to say it's working, although I've not used it yet. I did say in the video that I was hoping the next 3 days I'd be able to go out and clean the last bits of land, but because we've got a YouTube channel, those 3 days I've spent inside the house editing the video you've just watched. So it's not always as easy as YouTube is an example. It could be anything, a puncher or something taking up your time. You plan out what you want to do, something comes along, stops you from doing it, then the fire ban cuts in. So now I couldn't clean today, whereas the 2 days previously I could have cleaned. Things like that happen quite a lot, which makes it a bit hard sometimes, doesn't it, to sort of push on, you know, because you have to sort of keep stopping and be aware of like some of the regulations. So that's life.
I would like to say a thank you to Dean for your very kind donation. It really is appreciated.
Yeah, and
it really is.
A few other people have sent donations this week via PayPal, which is like Sandra just said, yes, we're very grateful. Thank you very much.
Exactly.
He's back again.
Unfortunately, we do have one little moan.
As much as we love having some of you subscribers contact us, and if we've got the time, we will always meet with subscribers. But it would be really nice if a lot of you contact us before we find you walking around in our land. That's 4 separate people now. I caught a couple about 7 months ago up at our goat barn, leaning over the fence, feeding our goats, and we went up there to feed the goats and found 2 people in our farm feeding our goats. I had somebody else come along about a month ago, pulled up at the driveway, which was fine. He was outside the gate and everything, and he didn't come in, but I saw him on the security cameras. So I went down and had a chat with him. I told him I was editing videos, so I didn't really have a lot of time to spend talking, but I'll happily sit down and have a cup of coffee with him. I think he left 4.5 hours later or something, so that week was very hard for me to make the video. And I'm just going to show you a little clip now. So I'm here at the land that we've got next to the lake that you've seen me clearing out before, although the bit behind me could do with a quick cut if I get the time. That's the entrance there, and there's a ramp that comes down here to where you saw us having a fire before. And when the girls were leaving the farm, they noticed a camouflage coloured Land Rover, which belonged to the guy that I spoke to for quite some time and showed him where all my land was, hidden back in there, and he was making a bonfire. And when I caught him and spoke to him, I think he was planning on staying the night. He swore blind he wasn't going to light the bonfire, but why on earth would you build a bonfire if you're not going to light it? So it was quite a shock to find the guy in our land, I can say that. So as you can see, finding people hiding in your land in their truck and building fires is it's not a good thing, you know. So please guys, if you want to meet us, send us an email,
Facebook, anything like that, you know. You please understand, this is our home.
It's not a film set, we live here. I mean, if Molly was up on the balcony sunbathing and you just walk into my driveway,
you know, there's days I'm still in my pyjamas because I can't get dressed.
Yeah.
So as much as we really do appreciate your support, all we're asking is just make an appointment.
I'm not trying to pick on anybody or have a go at the guy that turned up, but just a bit of common courtesy. I would not pull up at your home, not get a response at your gate and then help myself. I just think that's a bit weird. Let's respect each other, eh?
You know, you can contact us by Instagram, Facebook, email, even by Alex's phone number.
Yeah, I mean, you put Quinta, Fonte, Pipa in Google, it comes up with a map of our thing and my mobile phone number and everything else. So there's no excuses not to contact us first. All we ask is a bit of warning so we can make that we're not working or we're not editing or something like that, and we'll gladly meet you. So I think rant over, I think.
Yes. So as usual, thank you to our patrons. Thank you to everybody that's bought us a coffee, supported us via PayPal.
Not this wasp though.
Yeah, not this
Not
wasp.
him, no.
So thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe. You know, please do share it because it helps our channel grow.
Yeah. Thanks for watching and we'll see you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.